The following is produced by 5 Star Productions USA, which is solely responsible for its editorial content, and is sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.
The U.S. Department of Interior lists more than 1,000 animals as being threatened by extinction. 20% of the species on the planet are expected to vanish by the end of this century. We are witnessing the largest mass extinction since the dinosaur. Preventing destruction of wildlife habitat, like our oceans and forests, and stopping the pollution of our air, water, and land is essential. I'm Ed Begley, Jr. Join me this week on Today's Environment as we explore practical solutions to these and other environmental problems.
Today, City Council is effective with 9,000
reducing air
supermarkets
pollutants by
recycling a milestone.
30%. Educational programs.
The Florida panther is the rarest large mammal in North America. They remain on the endangered species list even though they have been protected since 1958. Biologists believe that only 30 to 50 pure-blooded panthers remain in the wild. They are so close to extinction that in 1979, the Florida Panther Act made killing them a felony. Next, we'll explore one way someone is making an environmental difference.
To what degree is a manufacturer responsible for its products after they've been sold? Should it be held accountable for how they're used? And of special importance, can the manufacturer be liable for how its products are disposed of? An average of 10 million vehicles are scrapped each year in the United States, so the problem is a major one. How are these automobiles going to be cycled back into useful products in a new life? One thing is certain, the recycling process for an automobile is much more complex than it is for plastic soda bottles or newspapers. A car is made up of many parts and different kinds of materials: metals, plastics, rubber, glass, foam, and fabrics, to name just a few. About 70 to 75% of an automobile by weight is currently being recycled. Mostly metals and large parts that can be easily identified and separated, like tires and batteries. But there are some 450 to 550 pounds of plastics and other materials that remain largely unusable, much of which eventually finds its way into the nation's already overtaxed landfills. BMW of North America Incorporated is a good example of a company that is actively involved in extending the recyclability of automobiles. At 3 locations in the United States, New York, Orlando, and LA, a pilot program is being conducted to determine how disassembly and recycling can be accomplished more efficiently and to a greater degree. For many years, mechanical components such as engines, transmissions, and rear axles have been recycled rather than reduce them to raw materials. And more recently, catalytic converters are being recycled for their precious metal content. Metals like aluminum are recovered and melted down in special furnaces. Some plastic parts, like bumpers, are easily removed and fed into grinders, the first step in recycling them. The materials from the bumpers are used to manufacture interior plastic parts where appearance is not a factor. To help sort the plastics, each part over a certain weight is identified as to the type of plastic it is. To make plastic recycling even easier, the goal is to reduce the number of different plastics used in a car to just a few, instead of the present 20, and to assure easy separation of the various plastic materials. Other items from the car, such as glass, tires, chemicals, and road materials, can be sent to producers of raw materials, or simply burned in power generation plants. A major effort is being made to design for recycling. For example, materials with similar characteristics are grouped together to make it easier to identify them later, when the car is scrapped. Also, recyclable items have been substituted for current non-usable ones. Several parts in BMW's 3 Series automobiles are already made of recycled materials, and others have been designed for easier recycling. In all, over 80% of all materials used in the 3 Series by weight can be economically recycled. The car of the future will not be measured only by its comfort, safety, economy, and ease of service, but also by how well it can be recycled.
Natural speed is no match for modern technology. The world's fastest land animal, the cheetah, has been slaughtered in Africa by poachers driving all-terrain vehicles armed with rapid-fire weapons. Now farm expansion also contributes to the decline of the species. Here's a look at another sensitive problem with a practical solution.
According to the World Watch Institute, some 290 million tons of toxic materials are disposed of annually, just in the United States alone. Power plant emissions, industrial byproducts, farm runoff, effluent from sewage treatment plants, even automobile exhausts all contribute to the growing problem of toxic waste management. Some of these contaminants may affect the health and well-being of surrounding communities and ecosystems, and the costs of containment, neutralization, and cleanup are huge. According to industry experts, cleaning just one hazardous waste site can cost up to $30 million. The pressing need to safely manage toxic materials in our environment has resulted in the development of a new industry, hazardous materials management, or hazmat. In the course of their work, specially trained and equipped hazmat workers identify, clean up, and dispose of a wide range of potentially dangerous materials. And to protect them, modern technology has developed sophisticated equipment and tools to provide hazmat workers with a high level of safety on the job. Once the hazard level is known, the hazmat worker chooses the appropriate personal safety equipment, which matches the hazard level. This could mean a simple chemical cartridge respirator in less hazardous situations to a self-contained breathing apparatus in high-risk areas. Specialized breathing devices like this air pack, made by Scott Aviation, along with other suitable protective gear, allow workers to venture into extremely contaminated areas, secure in the knowledge that they're protected, and assured of a consistent supply of breathable air. The air pack self-contained breathing apparatus consists of a specially designed facepiece which covers the worker's eyes, nose, and mouth, and a pressurized cylinder which provides up to 1 hour of breathable air through a redundant dual-pass pressure reducer and a mask-mounted regulator, allowing the hazmat workers to breathe safe air easily without fatigue. The facepiece is designed to maintain an internal air pressure, which is slightly higher than the pressure of the surrounding air. An alert system designed into the Scott Air Pack facepiece warns the hazmat worker when the air supply gets low by using an audible alert signal and a gentle vibration of the facepiece against the worker's face. In addition to the air pack self-contained breathing apparatus, special protective clothing is worn in contaminated environments where skin contact may pose a danger. This clothing covers the worker and the air pack completely, effectively sealing off the worker from the environment. Communications with fellow workers and the outside can be maintained by two-way radio through a microphone mounted inside the facepiece. With the help of protective technology from companies like Scott Aviation, we'll be able to contain, neutralize, and clean up toxic waste more quickly and efficiently today, while we explore new ways to reduce the waste generated by modern society.
Since 1969, 3 types of tigers have already become extinct. There are more Siberian tigers residing in zoos than in the wild. The causes of this range from destruction of habitat to air and water pollution and hunting. If this is not stopped 50 years from now, our children will only know the big cats from storybooks. Coming up is another way someone is countering an environmental problem.
Sometimes it's easy to forget that before man took over the planet, nature had a way of taking care of itself. Nature has made provisions for eliminating the day-to-day waste occurring within it. One company, Osco Treatment Systems Incorporated of Nashville, Tennessee, is giving nature a helping hand, using some of the very tools nature itself provides. The process is known as biological treatment. It uses bacteria and other microorganisms to decompose organic waste found in water. Although this process has been used for decades to treat sewage, new technology has advanced it to the point of successfully treating a wide array of liquid, aqueous contaminants. Wastewaters received at OSCO include those containing strong acids and bases contaminated with toxic heavy metals, oily wastewaters, and waters contaminated with organic solvents. The waste is brought to the plant by truck and by rail. Before a load of wastewater arrives, it has been tested, and the best method of treating it has already been established. Upon its arrival, the wastewater is analyzed to verify its chemical makeup and then pumped into the appropriate holding tank. Each specific contaminant has its own storage vessel. Since it's the most common variety, general neutral wastewater, which often contains some separated oil, has the largest tank. When separated or emulsified, if oil is present, it's skimmed off and transferred to the waste oil storage tank. When cleansed of all water and solids, the waste oil is actually a fuel with a high heating value, which is used in other industries. The wastewater is sent to one of 6 15,000-gallon pre-treatment tanks. A blend of waste acid is added to separate any remaining oil and to break down any metal complexes that might prevent these metals from separating to the bottom of the tank in solid form. A 20,000-gallon treatment tank is the next stop for the acidified wastewater. A solution containing insoluble lime, called lime slurry, or other chemicals, is introduced and induces precipitation of the heavy metals from the wastewater. The sludge containing the separated metals, which have fallen to the bottom, is sent to a sludge holding tank before being filtered into cakes. If, when tested, these solids don't leach metals or organic impurities, they're sent to landfills. Once the heavy metal content of the wastewater is low enough for biotreatment, it's transferred to a sequential batch reactor, or SBR. Unlike other biotreatment facilities that use a two-tank system, the SBR performs both steps of the process. First, tremendous amounts of air are shot into the tank as the wastewater is being fed into it. The air and water are thoroughly mixed. During this phase, the microorganisms are converting the complex organic chemicals into simple, non-hazardous compounds. Second, after the aeration and mixing are completed, the liquid is left to clear. The major benefit of the SBR one-tank system is more efficient treatment and better control over hard-to-treat waste. This treatment facility has the potential to handle 3 million gallons of wastewater per month. Wastewater containing hazardous impurities that would otherwise be disposed of through incineration or deep well injection. Biological treatment of wastewater is doing nature's job naturally.
Throughout the world, one of every 5 species of apes and monkeys is now on the list of rare and endangered animals. The cotton-top tamarin is one of the rarest primates in the world. Its remaining habitat, a mere 350 square miles of rainforest, is quickly being destroyed by urban expansion. Today's Environment investigated environmental condition and its solution.
The orange, beautiful, bountiful, and delicious. While this fruit supplies us with vitamins to strengthen us physically, its useful diversity is just now being fully recognized. For years, women have used orange peel as a perfume. Later, it was used to deodorize a host of household products. But this incredible little wonder never ceases to amaze us. Now the orange is playing a vital role in helping to save our planet. Industries rely heavily on chemical solvents to do a variety of cleaning chores, from removing ink from presses during the printing process, to disinfecting cold brewed beer vats, to removing fat from supermarket meat cutters. Up until now, the most common cleansers were chlorinated or petroleum-based solvents. Manufacturers are steering clear of chlorinated solvent cleansers because they've been shown to deplete the ozone layer, and industrial runoff containing chlorinated solvents causes pollution in waterways and contaminates fish. Petroleum-based products, on the other hand, rely on a non-renewable resource that is often imported, increasing our dependency on foreign nations. These cleansers are usually not biodegradable and must eventually be incinerated or landfilled after use. This type of disposal has caused alarm among communities neighboring incinerators or landfills because the toxins can eventually seep into the soil, contaminate the water supply, and permeate our surrounding air. The West Pennatone Company has patented a formula called CitraClean that uses orange peel as the base ingredient in a number of industrial and commercial solvents, and takes over those jobs once thought only capable of harsh chemicals. Hundreds of bushels of oranges go through this facility every day. The oil inside each orange peel is extracted in a big vat where it's cooked and drawn from the rind. Once the oil is released, it's refined and treated, just like other oils, to take out impurities. During this process, a liquid emulsion is made by adding detergent which allows the orange oil and water to mix. The company also adds the other ingredients that would normally go into a cleaner. The result is basically the same cleaning product as the earlier substances made, but the petroleum or chlorinated solvents are replaced with all natural biodegradable orange oil. No chemical perfumes are needed because the natural orange scent keeps its presence throughout all the manufacturing stages. West Pennatone has not only taken a natural source and created a breakthrough process, but they've passed this technology on to airlines, printers, automotive industries, and many more industries in a worldwide effort to keep both our machinery and our planet beautiful.
The macaw is the largest variety in the parrot family. Here you go. Its beautiful scarlet head has made living in the wild almost impossible. Illegal hunting and pet trading, along with deforestation of their habitat, are causing their rapid decline. And because macaws have few offspring, their recovery is even more difficult. Let's take a look at another interesting environmental program.
Since the advent of the Industrial Revolution in England more than 200 years ago, a steady stream of pollutants has entered the Earth's environment. More recently, municipal wastewater treatment plants, ill-equipped to process industrial wastes, have been forced to deal with untreated manufacturing fluids disposed of via the public sewer system. During the past few decades, however, a number of local, state, and federal regulations, such as the Clean Water Act, have sought to end the blatant dumping of liquid wastes. Instead, companies are now required to isolate contaminated liquids and dispose of them in accordance with legislation. This usually means placing the waste into drums and having it hauled to a dump site. But at some of these locations, decaying drums may leak their oily contents into the earth, contaminating the groundwater below. These sites sometimes become Superfund locations, which require intensive reclamation. Today, government and industry are recognizing that virtually all of the water in manufacturing fluids can be reclaimed and reused, and that doing so dramatically reduces waste material. This need for comprehensive liquid waste management is being met by companies like Sanborn Incorporated of Wrentham, Massachusetts. They offer a network of environmental engineering, technologies, and services essential to meeting ecological challenges today and into the future. This fully integrated approach is illustrated by the company's Environmental Compliance Division, which operates a wastewater pre-treatment and disposal facility in Augusta, Georgia. Licensed waste haulers transport contaminated liquids to the site, where a four-step process removes oils and solids, as well as dissolved organic matter and salts. Industrial wastewater is cleaned so thoroughly that it can be discharged directly into the sewer for further purification at a municipal treatment facility and eventual return to public waterways. First, a clarifying device separates free-floating oils from the water. Contaminated fluid enters a tank and passes through a series of baffles which encourage the oil to rise. The oil is then skimmed from the top of the tank while the water continues on. Next, the liquid enters a high-speed disc centrifuge. This device removes oil droplets in the wastewater and also separates solids from the fluid. As the unit rapidly spins, oils are forced out of the top, solids collect in the bottom, and water passes through to the next phase of the operation. The third procedure utilizes a sophisticated piece of equipment called an ultrification system. These units use semi-permeable membranes to separate all remaining solids and oils from the liquid. Finally, the water passes through an even more sensitive membrane device called a reverse osmosis system, which eliminates dissolved organic material and salts. At this point, the water is ready for discharge to a municipal treatment facility. Through expertise in engineering and technology, Sanborn and other environmental companies are helping industry reuse resources, minimize waste, and protect one of our planet's most precious natural resources: clean, pure water.
The fashion industry, which transforms unusual animal fur into expensive coats, has been the enemy of many of the world's great cats. Leopards are no exception. They were once slaughtered by the tens of thousands to supply the fashion salons of the world. Today, many top fashion professionals have discontinued any use of animal fur. Here's a look at another way someone is helping improve our planet's environment.
In the U.S., the average person uses almost 3,000 cubic yards of water each year. That's 243 gallons a day. Broken down, that amounts to 100 gallons of water a day just to flush toilets, 80 gallons to shower and bathe, 35 gallons to wash clothes, and 15 gallons to wash dishes, and that's just at home. Industry functions with a clean, endless supply of water, but is it really endless? And will it always be clean? To produce 1 pound of steel takes 35 gallons of water. One Sunday newspaper takes 280 gallons, and building one new car uses 100,000 gallons of water during production. The water that we take from our lakes and seas is usually replaced into our ecosystem one way or another. The problem is the condition of the water being returned. When industries and individuals use water to clean our equipment and ourselves in such a huge capacity, we're destined to get our reserves dirty. That's why specialized treatment is necessary to clean the water before we use it and before it's returned to its original site. When the impurities are taken from the water, they condense and form a sludge that is usually landfilled. In our never-ending quest to find solutions to reduce our waste, the Crofta Engineering Corporation has devised a system that is capable of thoroughly cleaning water while creating a sludge that can be beneficial to the environment. The Supracell treats water for municipalities or industries. In its tank, air is mixed with the raw water until it dissolves. The water now contains millions of tiny bubbles. These bubbles latch onto the contaminants, making them rise to the surface. The Supracell skims off the top layer of the water, thus ridding it of impurities, while the cleansed water drains through the bottom of the tank. While this water is good for industrial uses like rinsing parts or cooling machinery, it still contains a small amount of contaminants that shouldn't be consumed by people. So Crofta Engineering came up with a newer system that deep cleans the water taken from the Supracell. It's called the sand float. The sand float works in much the same way as the Supracell, with one important difference. Lying at the bottom of the tank are pie-shaped compartments filled with sand. The sand is used as a filter, so when the water drains through this tank, it filters through the sand, which absorbs all the remaining impurities. The sand is periodically backwashed. The trapped impurities float up to be scooped off the top. In the end, the process leaves behind clean water and sludge containing all of the contaminants. These systems contribute to the environment by not generating more waste and by being made up of two natural elements: air and sand.
In the wild animal kingdom, it is the chimpanzee that can readily evoke our emotions. 50 years ago, there were several million chimps in Africa. Today, as few as 150,000 remain, largely due to habitat loss. To save endangered species, it is essential to protect their habitats and understand their vital role within the Earth's ecosystems. I'm Ed Begley, Jr. Join me next week as we explore more about what's being done to save our planet and its inhabitants on today's environment.
If you know of any interesting environmental success stories, call us at 407-997-9800. This has been a presentation of 5 Star Productions USA. The preceding program was sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.